All right, let's go. All right, let's go. Braden Shenstead. Tim, he's a goalie.
Yes.
Now let's
Plays for the Saskatoon Royals.
Okay. He got a G.Howe Hat Trick. Now, how can a goalie get that? He had a shutout and went in a fight. That's unbelievable.
That's it, yeah.
Well, I just love when guys...
Well, some people were complaining he got thrown out of the game with a little bit of time. So was it a true 100% shutout?
Well, we'll call it a G.Howe Hat Trick.
Yeah.
And he's a goaltender, which is like unbelievable. And G.Howe got that in one period.
Right. He only did that once, the G.Howe Hat Trick, against Toronto. And they said he scored a goal in the first period. And then towards the end of the first period, he got an assist. But right after the goal, he got into a fight. I think they said it was with Bobby Bond.
Who would want to fight with G.Howe?
I think they said it was Bobby Bond.
Oh, Bobby Bond, yeah, Bond would.
And he got into a fight. And then, so that was the G.Howe Hat Trick. But a true G.Howe Hat Trick, you have to get in one period.
My rookie year, I'm watching these guys fight, and he come up beside me. I won't behind me.
Bobby
Bond, and he put a
like a chokehold
on me, and I thought, this is how you die. I thought I was going to die. I was one step away, but I'll tell you, boy, he taught me a lesson. And when there's a fight going on, don't stand there. Anyhow,
and then Brady Tkachuk got one.
And then Brady Tkachuk got a G.Howe Hat Trick. He got an assist, a fight, and a goal. And boy, he's playing great for them.
And then he got the winner in overtime.
Yeah,
and he fought that Trouba. So there was the two captains fought. It was a good fight.
That was a dandy. It wasn't any pushing and shoving in that one. That was a beauty. Well, Gordy did that in one period.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And let's go Vancouver this time.
Okay.
Demko is hurt. He's out with a hip sprain or whatever you want to call it. He's going to be out for a while, and
they're thinking maybe 6 weeks.
Yeah. What do you think when? What do you think when they came to him and he said Demko's going to be out 6 weeks? What do you think?
Bruce Boudreau. Well, I don't know. I'm asking you. What do you think Bruce Boudreau did?
He said, "Oh, gee, that's too bad." When I see that, Bruce Boudreau is a good guy, and he really is a good guy, and. If I had been there, I would have played Spencer Martin the whole time, and then when we had general manager mad at me, and
you did that in Colorado.
I did that with. Let me see. Just give me my mind straight now. Well, I wouldn't mention the guy's name. He was a floater. He was the number one draft choice. He played for Kingston. It's Mike Gillis, and he was the number one draft choice, and he broke his leg. And I remember, and he had a real good playoffs, and they saw him in the playoffs, and they got him. They give him a ton of dough. And Barry Beck was playing for us. He was making $80,000, I think it was, which is not bad. And he said, "I'm not playing for that," and he wouldn't play. He wouldn't fight. He wouldn't do anything.
Think about what you always talk about Barry Beck in his car. Remember, he had a nice car.
Oh yeah, he had a. What did he have? It
was a Corvette, was it, Tim?
No, he had a Ferrari. He was like Magnum PI.
Oh, yeah. And he looked like him, too. He's a good-looking guy.
Oh, he was better looking than
Yeah, he was.
But let's just, before we go in, okay, we got to clear something up about Barry Beck. And this has been going around on the internet on why Barry Beck was traded from Colorado. And I think Barry Beck said this in jest. He was goofing around. But you say stuff long enough, it becomes the truth, right? Tell a lie long enough, it becomes the truth.
I don't even know this one.
So he said that the reason he got traded was because Blue was in the dressing room in Colorado.
That could be.
And was sniffing around and scratched her bum on the floor right where he did his push-ups, and he spanked her with a stick, and she ran away. And then
first of all, you wouldn't run away.
No,
she'd bite the stick.
Right.
Bite the stick.
And they said the next day he got traded. Now, I know he probably said that in jest, but people don't get it. That comes an urban myth. Now, I think it's interesting. The real reason he got traded.
Okay, he came to me and he said, I'm making 80 grand. And he said, this other guy's, Mike Gillis, is making, I don't know how much he's making. He's making a lot of money.
It's like 125 or something like that.
150 or something like that. He says, I played last year. I fought and everything last year because I was the highest paid guy. Why should I have to go out and fight and hit and everything?
Because his contract was up.
Yeah.
Right.
And
I remember you telling me you went into Muron and Armin Pohan's thing because Barry Beck was a good guy. And you said you either got to pay him the big dough or you got to trade him. And Ray Muron said, we can't pay him what he wants. Then you said, then you got to trade him. And then Armin Pohan said, well, we can't trade him. He's our franchise player. And you said, well, then you got to pay him like a franchise player.
Yeah.
And then eventually he got traded.
Well, he got traded to New York, and we didn't get much in return. But he was a good player.
But so you like his car. Tell the car story.
Oh, his car. I remember you coming home and you're saying you looked at it was during a practice and you looked inside his Ferrari, his red Ferrari, and it was all McDonald's wrappers and it was dirt all in it, and he wasn't respecting the car.
He wasn't. I really respect my cars, as you know.
We all know that.
Yeah.
So you did say something to him.
Yeah, I said something to him, didn't he? He just laughed. He didn't care. Maple Leafs, Marner got his 19 goals, or 19 points, or what is it?
Yeah, 19 straight points.
Yeah.
You know who holds the record for most consecutive point games with a point?
No. Oh.
Well, guess.
Who?
Guess. It'll be Gretzky.
Oh,
right.
Yeah, he got 81. He's got 51.
51 straight games he got a point.
51. Boy, he was good. I remember, though, I went in with Colorado, and we outshot them 14-7, and we're losing 1-0.
I don't have to ask who was
I think that's what got me fired. A lot of things got me fired.
Yeah, but let's jump back quick, though, Dad, to Vancouver, because, I think we have a lot of listeners in Vancouver. Do you not think the players are kind of going, what's going on?
They know before anybody.
Like, again, Martin won last night. This is Sunday morning. He won last night. So
what is he, 7-2?
He's 7-2. They've won 10 games, and he's won 70% of them. And he's not, and he didn't get the bulk of the starts. And Demko was not playing well.
You know the thing that got me fired? That's when you brought it up with I'll bring it up.
Like, that's what we were talking about. We were saying it was Mike Gillis, and then you wanted who?
I wanted Ronnie Delorme. And Ronnie Delorme, and the players knew Ronnie Delorme. He was really playing well. He was a checker, but he could block shots and fight. And I'm going to send him down? No way. Because what happened was Ray Muron, who was the general manager, could go to the owner, who didn't know hockey very much. He says, here's the guy. We're paying this guy $150,000. That was the big money back in those days. And he keeps this other guy. We're paying him nothing. We're losing. That's why we're losing. It wasn't we're losing. It was because Hardy asked him. But anyhow,
so you're saying...
I would have played Spencer Martin.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, there seems to be a little bit of disrest in Vancouver. Like that Brock Bessemer, he got 2 goals last night.
I've never heard of a guy, while he's playing on the team, given permission to go to talk to other teams. It might have happened, but I wasn't involved with it. I just cannot believe that when a guy is playing for a team, his agent can go to other teams and say, well...
So, wouldn't that sow a little bit of discontent?
There's something going on there in Vancouver that we don't know about. I don't know what's going on.
Dad, just talking about Salming, unfortunately, he passed away. It's really sad to see him. I mean, he was less than 2 weeks after he came to Toronto. And, I know we talked about this, and you said they don't know, but I read an article that, like, they had Tiger and Darryl and Lanny with Sittler.
Well, they're big names.
Right. And like Mike Palmateer's from Toronto, he was his goalie. They didn't,
Well, Mike should have been there, and Turnbull should have been there. Palmateer was the goaltender, and but anyhow, you're right. I thought Palmateer living here should have been there too.
Should have been there, and
Bobby Bond.
Yeah, and Turnbull being his partner the whole time, he thought they would have had it, but
Well, I guess that's the way they work it. They never thought, eh?
Yeah, it was funny how when they talk about Salming, they say, "Oh, he took a lot of abuse and all that," and he did, but it was mostly from Philadelphia, like. Montreal Canadiens didn't run him.
Nobody.
Or Boston didn't run him.
You didn't do anything.
No, it was the Flyers that did
Schwartzy, maybe.
Yeah, Schwartzy, but he did it to
He
everybody.
did, yeah.
But he did that to everybody.
Tell that story about Bobby Schmatz. We'll just tell that one. I think we told before. I think it's funny about the rookie in Detroit.
I remember Bobby Schmatz. He didn't suffer fools lightly. And this rookie cut him, and he didn't mean to cut him. The stick was coming. I said, "Don't leave the kid alone." I said, "Don't go after the kid.
He's just a rookie, right?
Just a rookie, and he didn't know who you were and all that stuff." And he cut him. Oh boy, did he ever cut him!
And so he even applied that.
He'd cut you. I remember one time we were at that arena out in Pittsburgh, and what was the guy's name?
Danvers, Twin Ring, Malcolm.
Malcolm, yeah. He said he lit a cigarette and he said, "Don't move." And when Schmatzy said, "Don't move," something's coming. And he had a little bit of ash on the end of his cigarette, and he could, and he did it. And he
flicked it with his stick.
He did it with his stick. Well, anyhow, he cut the guy, and
But I remember you said, "Gee, Schmatz, he's just a rookie. Leave him alone." And Schmatz, yeah, okay, no problem.
Yeah, no problem. I'd like to talk about those 4 Brandon Wheat Kings. Calder Anderson, Nolan Ritchie, Jake Chason. I think that's how you pronounce it, isn't it?
Chason, yep.
Yeah, and Ben Thornton. They saw this guy standing on a bridge, and it looked like he might take the deep 6. And they stopped and talked to him, and phoned the police and the police. And what did the police say, Tim?
Well, the policeman said, he goes, if they didn't stop, he says, like the 40 other cars that didn't stop, he said it might have been a much different story. Well,
they were great guys, and
I said the funny thing was
they're on their way to somewhere.
They were just come back from a place called the Samaritan House, and it's a ministry that helps the hungry, hurting, and homeless in Brandon. So they were volunteering before then. And Dad, like and Cindy, like I go on social media a lot, so I saw this on my Facebook page from it was on the Brandon Sun, and so I thought, I wonder if TSN or Sportsnet have this on their Facebook page. So I looked, nope, they didn't. CBC, nope. But
Ron McLean had it on last night.
Ron McLean had it on last night, and CBS Sports had it on.
The States.
The States on their sports page. And I just said, if they stop and they say they pushed that guy off, it would have been head.
Or if they hadn't done anything to the guy.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the sad part now is that it's just all the negative stuff. Like
Well, that's that word you used. It wasn't salacious enough.
Salacious enough. Like the guy.
What do you call it?
Well, it wasn't salacious enough. It wasn't
salacious.
a big.
I don't even know that word.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, the guy that does all the reporting for TSN. I mean, that's not his gig. If the guy, as I say, if they pushed him off the bridge, he would have wrote a thing on it.
Yeah,
so
anything against hockey.
Yeah, and like you, all the good things that the CHL does gets no recognition. Like you guys got an award last week in my living room.
Yes.
And so tell us about the award that you and Dad got.
Well, Dad,
I didn't get it.
Yeah, you did. You did from the Logan Boulay Humanitarian Foundation.
I did it for you, Sydney.
Oh, you did it for me. Okay. The Logan Boulay Humanitarian of the Year for 2020.
Logan Boulay.
Yes, that they have a foundation to promote kidney transplant.
Great
And then
guy.
I got a trophy for my input of...
Where do you have it, Sydney?
It's on my mantle.
Oh,
I just want to
all
say, I have never gotten one plaque or trophy or ever.
Boy, you got a beauty.
in
They
my
give
life.
you a beauty.
Yeah, you got a nice one though.
And it was nice. I got from the Don Swindensky Memorial Foundation and the Angel Legacy Project, and I got one for the work that I did with the WHL.
How much did you guys raise?
We raised over $600,000, about $625,000 from with the WHL and the Kidney Foundation for a campaign.
WHL, eh?
The WHL and the Kidney Foundation.
$600,000, and never mentioned that they raised that much money for organ and kidney.
No, I don't think we ever made it. We
never made it in the paper.
never made it on that. And so I mean, they recognized it. These foundations recognized it, and I want to thank them very much. As I said, it's the first trophy I've ever gotten for anything for Rose Charity. For all the other projects I've had done.
Do you know, Cindy, that during COVID, I couldn't get over this, that transplants were considered by the government elective surgery, and they canceled it?
Yeah.
If you needed a kidney transplant or a liver transplant or whatever, they said, nope, that's elective surgery.
Elective surgery.
What's that mean?
Well, not necessary. It's elective.
Oh, it's not necessary.
Yeah. So, and even if you took all the tests and you were ready to have a kidney transplant, there's a lot of tests now that they do before you can even think about getting a kidney transplant from a live donor or a cadaver. But that was all canceled too, because then they were old tests. So there was very, very limited in the amount of kidney transplants during COVID.
Because it was elective.
It was elective.
Just stay on dialysis for the next little while.
Yeah, for another 5.
And Cindy, congratulations on getting your award, and you should be very proud of your trophy.
Thank you very much.
So Cindy and Dad, we'd like to thank our sponsor, Spreads.ca. They're a Canadian-owned online casino and sportsbook. And if you sign up now and use the promo GRAPES, they'll match your deposit up to $500. You get 10 spins on the big wheel for some big dough, and your first sports bet, they'll spot you $25. So
sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah. So, Dad, the last couple of weeks we've been talking about Joe Crozier, your old coach, and he was a big reason why you retired. So,
well, let's go over a few stories before. Okay. First of all, we'll go Batavia. Now, Joe Crozier was he liked to do things like the National Hockey League, eh? So he thought it was a great idea to take us to Batavia. Well,
like when?
For the playoffs. So we go for the finals, and we would have beaten this team anyhow. He'd been better off to leave us at home. We'd all go home to the wives. So they take us to Batavia, just outside of Rochester, and the guys, they went to a certain bar, and what's that tune they played over and over? I Shot the Sheriff, over and over and over again. That was the big song back then, I Shot the Sheriff. So I thought, well, all the guys would stay out, and they were having a grand time, and we still, like I say, we would still win. So I thought, well, I'll be in at 11 o'clock. If he said at 11 o'clock, I'll be in at 11 o'clock. So I was about 5 after, somewhere around in there. So I thought, well, I better go around the back. So I go around the back. I go up the stairs, and I said, what are we going to do? I hear this voice. It's Joe. He's sitting in the back in the dark, waiting for the guys to come in, waiting for me to come in. So I go up, and I said, what do you mean, what are we going to do? He says, what are we going to do? He says, we've got this guy. He won't stay in Batavia. What are you talking about? He says, well, this guy won't stay. I'm not going to mention the guy's name. He won't come to Batavia like the rest of us. What are the guys going to think? I said, what do the guys think? What do the guys think? I said, you nuts? He says, they think he's nuts anyhow. So what's the difference? And I thought, after I got into my room, I thought, I'm the only guy in, and I'm the only guy that got caught. But 5 minutes late. But anyhow, we won. We won. And you know what happened to that guy? That guy broke his arm in the first period. So didn't matter anyhow.
Well, karma.
Yeah.
So do you believe in that was a smart thing to do, like get the players away from the wives and everything? It sounds sort of silly.
Well, you know who used to do it was Montreal. Montreal used to do it all the time. He'd take the team right up to Laurentian, the mountain.
Who's this, Scotty?
No, it's Scotty Bowman, yeah.
Yeah.
And it worked for them, so everybody thought,
this is.
I remember.
Well, do you believe in that, getting the players away from the wives and putting them up in a hotel room?
No, because they act worse when they're away from their wives.
The wives keep them in line.
Yeah,
right?
That's right. They're not going to be out carousing.
Joe was one of the reasons I retired. And I remember I was in the meeting with him one time, and a guy phoned, and he said, tell him to wait. So then the guy phoned again. He said, tell him to wait. And I said, That's what he'll do to me someday. I'll phone and I remember me phoning. I was between. Where do you want me to play? All I wanted to know is I didn't want to go to Vancouver because I was living in Rochester. I had a house there and everything. So I phoned him once. He's busy right now. Phoned him twice. He's busy right now. I said, if I phone him the third time, Rose, I'm going to retire. And he doesn't answer the call. And that's what happened. He didn't answer the call, and I retired. That's the reason. One of the reasons I retired.
Mom wasn't too happy, was she?
No. I think she enjoyed the life of a hockey player. She didn't enjoy the life as a construction worker. So that's the reason I retired. And Joe didn't answer my phone.
Didn't he call you back a little while?
Oh, and then he phoned me back and he says, "Okay, where do you want to play?" And he asked me, and I said, "Oh, I want to play." I said, "I'm retired." He said, "Don't be stupid." And I said, "No, I've retired, but I never had an injury, and we won 4 out of 5 championships and went to the final."
So do you remember that summer, the big fight you and Mom had?
Oh, when I wouldn't go, yeah.
Yeah.
She said, "Well, why don't you go? Are you going to Montreal?" And I said, "No."
Well, let's explain what happened. Like, that was where everybody went for the draft, and everybody went looking for a job. You would go to the thing because the draft was.
It was in the Elizabeth Hotel, Queen Elizabeth, the Beaver, and they had the Beaver Room and all that. And the guys that wanted a job, coaching and that, went to Montreal. And
what did you say?
I forget what I said.
You said, "I'm not going to be a floater looking for a job around there, and I'm not going."
Boy, Mom didn't get happy.
Oh, did she give it to you? I remember that was a very memorable fight as a child growing up. "Oh, Mr. Big Shit, you can't go looking for a job. You're so selfish," and da-da-da. She really gave it to you.
Well, then you went on your construction. You thought you were going to be a construction worker.
I thought I was going to be a construction worker, and I got laid off there.
I got laid off. Still wouldn't go to Montreal.
It was a tough time in my life, I have to tell you.
Yes, it certainly was.
I had no money coming in, and then I took a job painting for $2 an hour.
Painting houses.
And I had to take the paint in my car and everything. Anyhow, Rose was not too happy.